Hello, I'm Jacky, and today I'm going to be reading chapter 5 of The Swoose, written by Dick King-Smith. So, chapter 5. Meanwhile, back in the castle, panic reigned. Everyone knew that the Swoose had flown away. Everyone, that is, except the Queen. And all were waiting horrified for the moment when she would find out. The ornithologist, in particular, was in a cold sweat. He had let the bird escape. He, everyone agreed, would lose his job. So it was with a great sigh of relief that the worried man saw Fitzherbert come winging back over the battlements to land once more in a courtyard. Armed with his scissors, he hurried out. As he did so, an upper window was flung open and a commanding voice called out, "Stop and wait for us!" The ornithologist stopped and waited, his heart in his mouth. What if the bird should take off again? But Fitzherbert had no intention of doing so. To begin with, the flight to Alf and back had been quite tiring, and secondly, though he did not understand the words, he recognised the note of command in the royal tones. In a little while, Queen Victoria emerged from a side door into the courtyard, leaning upon the arm of the lady of the bedchamber. The ornithologist was a tall man, but he felt very small at the sight of the dumpy little Queen's frowning face. "What," she said, "are you doing with those scissors?" If you please, Your Majesty," said the ornithologist. "I was intending to pinion the bird." "To pinion it?" "To cut the flight feathers of one wing, ma'am." "With what object?" "To prevent the bird from leaving you." "Leaving us?" said the Queen. "Flying away from our presence, do you mean? What an absurd idea." "You will put those scissors away, sir, or it will be you who is leaving." Soon the whole court knew that far from being chopped off, the feathers of the Queen's pet Swoose must on no account be so much as ruffled. He was to have the choicest food, such as fresh young vegetables from the kitchen, brought to him by the royal head gardener in person, and Scotch oatmeal porridge served by the Queen's manservant, John Brown. In addition, the royal head gardener's little daughter was appointed Swoose girl in waiting to take Fitzherbert for daily walks in Windsor Great Park. By now, however, he was still shut in the Moor menagerie for his own safety. For foxes, the ornithologist royal was sure, would be no respecters of Swoose. But the Queen came in each evening to see her pet. Fitzherbert would make his bow, the Queen would smile, and everyone would heave a sigh of relief at the welcome change that had come over the crusty old lady. At first, Fitzherbert found the nights trying. By day, there were so many people making a fuss of him, but at night he was lonely. None of the other inmates in the menagerie, such as the parrots or monkeys, bothered to talk to him, and he thought how nice it would be to have a chat with someone like Alf. How pleasant it was then to hear a friendly voice one evening, just after the Queen and her company had left. A cultured voice it was, a little sing-song in tone, and altogether quite unlike the country voice of the water vole, though in fact it belonged to another rodent. "How are you settling in, my dear?" said the voice. And Fitzherbert looked up to see that the speaker was a rat. He'd come across rats before in the farmyard, ugly-looking creatures with rough brown coats, but this one was quite different. To begin with, it was smaller, and slenderer than a farm rat, with large thin ears and the longest of tails, longer even than his whole body. And second, that body was clothed in the glossiest of blue-black fur. Altogether, it was the most elegant animal, Fitzherbert thought, and answered politely, "Quite well, thank you." "Allow me to introduce myself," said the black rat. "My name is Maharance." "Fitzherbert," said the Swoose. "A noble-sounding name," said Maharance. "So's yours," said Fitzherbert. "It sounds foreign." "So it is," said the black rat. "Her Majesty, as you may know, is also Empress of India, and her royal subjects within the Raj often send her gifts of animals. I stowed away such a shipload, believe my proper place to be at court." "I don't quite understand," said Fitzherbert. "I myself am of royal blood. I was born in a palace, so it is fitting that I should associate myself with Her Majesty. Mahari, you see, means great queen." "Oh," said Fitzherbert, "so you're a favourite of hers too, are you?" "I wouldn't exactly say that," replied Mahari. "The English, you know, are less friendly towards our brown cousins and are apt to tar black rats with the same brush. I tend, therefore, to keep a low profile. But you certainly seem to have taken Her Majesty's fancy. You're quite a royal pet." "Until she gets fed up with me," thought Fitzherbert, but then suddenly remembered that was what Alf had said. "Look here, Maharance," he said, "don't suppose she'd ever eat me, do you?" The black rat looked at the Swoose consideringly and strangely. She too echoed Alf's words. "She might," she said, "or she might not. But if you ever be on the menu, I shall hear about it. I spend a good deal of time in the castle kitchens. Rely me to give you a warning, Fitzherbert, my friend." So the time passed pleasantly for the Swoose. Not only did he enjoy the flavour of the queen, but all the benefits that came with it. But now he had two friends. At night, he had a long and interesting conversations with the much-travelled Maharance, and as often as he liked, he flew up river for a chat with the homespun Alf. To see the Swoose go gave the ornithologist 50 fits at first, but gradually he became confident that the bird would always return. All went well until the head cook and bottle washer at Windsor Castle reached retirement age and was replaced with the black cat. Arrived in Fitzherbert's cage one evening in high excitement. "What do you think?" she said. "There is a French chef in the kitchen, no more stodgy and imaginative English cooking. Now we shall see food fit for a queen, and leftovers for a Marines. There is nothing that a good chef can't cook. Oh, except Swiss, I hope," thought Fitzherbert. Thank you for listening to Chapter 5. Please join me for the final chapter, Chapter 6.